Welcome back to Dream Drop Distance. We are here in the Court of Miracles. Population 0.
Yeah, it's kind of really lacking a bit around here. Well, I guess if the gypsies are in hiding, that's a good thing.
I like how it's gypsies, plural, when you only ever see one.
It's just that gypsy, the one person I dislike.
They're here. They're just in the tents, I guess.
See, the overwhelming darkness you live in doesn't really contrast well with the happy-go-lucky music you hear on this screen.
This music is so sickly sweet, I throw up every time I have to take care of my Dream Eaters.
I know, I think every time I go here and I happen to cry, it's in, like, peppermint. And Kivat loves that!
Give me that shit, Master! Can't get it off!
Yeah! Meow Wow's like, hey man, what are you doing? Okay, you can't scratch my side a little? What's up?
Meow Wow gets nothing.
Look at all this big place for the one gypsy to hide in!
It's like fucking Where's Waldo, except without the crowd.
Waldo's not trying anymore, is he?
I came to warn you. Frollo's on his way.
He'll be here at dawn with 1,000 men.
Or like 5 or 6 Dream Eaters, good enough.
Budget constraints, I guess.
Notre Dame has fallen on hard times. I must do what I can.
You put a GPS in Quasi's hump, so he could always find him.
Then he just takes it out and is like, huh, that's what that was.
I have you at last, you witch.
I finally found the one gypsy in this entire city.
Now I will leap onto your back and we will bounce through this city as a power couple.
Now they did cut out the part where Frollo sniffs Esmeralda's hair.
Yeah, really, like, full of passion in the movie is Frollo. Look out, Sora, it's a dramatic push-in! Ooh, nasty. Remind me not to do any of those for our playthroughs, Helldragon. They are deadly.
Exactly. Kids, when you're editing your videos and your movies, always use your editing software for the greater good.
No! Quasimodo? Esmeralda! Phoebus!
Wilma!
He's taking her to a bonfire in the square. I gotta hurry.
I prefer when characters internalize their monologue. And Notre Dame's burning. Okay.
Oh, that's like a lot of red for just like one fire. Like, how intense is this fire supposed to be?
Well, they're like floodlights projecting that fire's light onto here.
I mean, this fire has to be an event, you know? Frollo wants to play it big.
I will give them props. They translated this scene pretty faithfully from the movie.
Yeah, but the music is like way different and doesn't really fit.
It's very happy-go-lucky and triumphant, whereas in the movie it was like very religiously charged, like you've been saying, very bombastic.
Yeah, the big theme of this world is neutered. That's what it is.
Sanctuary!
I prefer it to simple and clean!
No, I disagree with that opinion. I think Simple and Clean was great.
Actually, I prefer Hikari.
Bam! Nicely done, though. I do like that dive.
Strap yourself in, kiddies. We are in for rough times.
Yeah, the thing about Wargoyle, like I've said before, you know, a lot of the bosses are really big, they have super armor, and especially in the case of this boss, they have, like, huge attack radiuses that make it really hard to dodge sometimes unless you're using flow motion. It's just not really designed that well.
Took me so long to get a decent take of this guy because he was fucking ferocious for some reason. I don't know, maybe he knew he was being recorded for a playthrough, but I digress. Just keep moving because he can actually detach his arms and throw them at you. There you go, God of War style. He can praise Jesus at a long distance.
Yeah, mostly what I like to recommend for these kind of bosses is to stick back and use stuff like the fire spells. You can dash in and then dash the hell out, things like that. Usually dashes like to take you past the boss as you drive through them, so you may want to consider those.
you will want to start locking on to bosses. I mean, that might seem like a very stupid bit of advice, but I tried playing this boss without locking on. The cannon would just not comply at all.
And I even think you should be locking on to enemies during when you're fighting crowds and things like that, because again, it keeps the camera in control. Otherwise, it flips the hell out.
He does attack very frantically, and that can be very intimidating, but a lot of his attacks are very predictable. The saving grace here is the fact that you have so much room to work with. Later on, you won't be so lucky, so enjoy this moment now.
Yeah. Although, I do have to admit, for a lot of crap we give Wargoyle, I think it's a really cool design. A lot of the bosses in this game are actually pretty interesting, and they have unconventional takes on certain types of attacks and gimmicks, so I do admit there is a lot of creativity there.
We mentioned that, Hellfire is nowhere to be seen here. I'm very disappointed in the fact that Frollo doesn't appear as a boss at all, and you might say, well, he's just a simple human. He probably won't stand a chance against Sora. We've fought pirates before.
That's true. After all, Frollo can benefit very much from pirate power.
And, he wields a sword, and just the lack of Hellfire, I can't let that one go, I'm sorry.
Then again, Frollo was very intimidating, not for his strength, but for his authority and his conviction, and what he would do to try and get these gypsies and things like that. That's why he was such a big threat in the movie, so I don't necessarily mind that you don't fight him, per se.
Well, if you think about it, him and Wargoyle represent two sides of the same coin. Wargoyle is like brute force, brute strength. Frollo is like the ego, the conniving mind.
Yeah, definitely. This is pretty cool, you have to admit. I like the backdrop.
And plunge them into the fiery pit forever.
Now, he did capitalize he there when he was speaking that verse. You capitalize he when you're mentioning God in particular, so I guess that was the only thing that really made it religious-wise. And did he grab him by the waist in the movie?
He did, and yeah, that's, not very plausible, but here it's downright silly. Quasi is a heavy guy.
I guess it's because of how the models have to work in this. You don't have the flexibility of animation to fall back on. Aw, this is so nice. Why is everything burning in the background?
You just hear the gargoyle screaming, "Ah, it's so hot we're melting!"
I have to wonder who had the task of picking up Frollo's body after he went splat.
Oh, especially since he fell into a river of molten whatever it was.
Oh god, yeah, that corpse must have been blasted. Oh my god.
A little bit of imagery for you there, kids. Well, what do you know? They retain the dark nature of Hunchback after all.
I'm not invited, am I?
I'm gonna be in a crappy sequel, aren't I?
Quasimodo, you can't let your heart be...
I know. I can't blame Frollo for putting walls around me.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tom on this one. Frollo was a shitlord, and we kinda should blame him for certain things.
Now, while it is very admirable that you're, taking responsibility, taking your life into your own hands, you're living it for once, Frollo did you a massive wrong. He killed your mother, he kidnapped you, brainwashed you, tried to pervert your, your morals. He bears a lot of blame, but you know what? He got his, and now he's going to burn in hellfire for the rest of eternity.
And someone gets to pick up that mess.
Jesus Christ, stop it.
Well, bye now.
Hypocrite.
Oh no, not this guy again.
Do we have a name for this guy yet?
Asshole, that's what he is.
Works for me.
Even if you are not the prisoner.
Oh, I wasn't around for that game.
Well, I was, but I didn't see Vanitas at all.
What a pointless cameo. What did that accomplish?
Now, since this game comes after Birth by Sleep, we will be addressing some spoilers. Sora has Ven's heart within him, and Ven saw Vanitas, obviously since Vanitas is the dark side of Ven, but that is probably the most pointless cameo of all of them in Da-Da-Da. It's stupid.
Well, when you say it like that, you make Birth by Sleep sound completely idiotic.
A prison?
I ain't saying nothing.
Just don't reply, you know the true answer.
Okay, let's check out this chronicle, shall we? It's not like we haven't lived through a burst before.
Oh good, it's a wiki within the game. Thank you.
I actually don't mind these chronicles. You know, for people picking up Da-Da-Da, it gives them a little insight into the series, so even though they may not have played the games, they can get, you know, the rough guide to what's going on so they won't be totally confused.
But at the same time, I think maybe a video with narration would have worked a bit better. Something a bit more interesting than just, well, here's an article, fool, read it.
You could have had, like, Corey Burton be reading that.
Corey Burton would have to read everything, after all. They do use him in practically every role ever in this game.
I just noticed it's a hidden Mickey.
Oh, I just got that.
Give me that. Okay, let's switch out to the Holy Blade.
Oh, why? I just kept on Skull Noise for a while, because I needed more kill power.
Kill potential, I believe you refer to it as.
Well, that term is like 2010. I've moved on, I think.
When you switch to another character, you can actually select bonuses for that other character to receive. The funny thing here is, I always forget that you can go from level 1 to level 2 on these things, so I always selected the level 1 bonuses. It was crazy.
And sometimes you can also buy commands you can't normally get otherwise, so make sure you scroll down to the end of the list.
That does it for Sora's side of the City of Bells. We'll see you next time for Riku's.